This is the show we've all been waiting for. Really, just Ryan Thompson and I have been waiting for because it's the first time we have three Ryans just to really, really confuse the audience. You've got Ryan Berman, I'm the bald one. We got Ryan Thompson, he's the smart one. And we've got our first serial entrepreneur. And I would put you in that category, Ryan Hogan. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Now, when I first heard your name, I was like, oh, this is my brother from Maryland. But now you live in Seattle, correct?
I do. Yeah. I moved to Seattle about 2.5 years ago. The Navy's taken me all over the country, for sure. But the company today is based in Baltimore, but we have offices out here in Seattle. So my wife and I moved up here from San Diego. I know that's 3 cities, and we're like, how did we get here? I don't know either, but we moved from San Diego to Seattle about 2.5 years ago.
And now I feel bad because we didn't meet in San Diego. We didn't meet in Maryland. Maybe I need to
It's
move
your
to
fault.
Seattle. This is me. It's not you. It's me. I also was not in the Navy for 15 years, and I got to tell you, like, first of all, thank you so much for your service there. I mean that genuinely. I wish there was like a contribution to society, like a mandated year that the entire country would have to serve. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I wrote a whole paper on that. Not that I was big on writing papers in college, but I wrote a whole paper on conscription and how I believe that everybody should do a year of public service, and that should be a part of citizenship. So I agree with you.
Well, maybe we should get that in front of the government. Like, where do we start with that one?
They don't. I'm just a pog in the wheel right now. It's just I'm still in the Navy. I'm just in the reserves. But even as my position today, I don't think anybody really listens to me.
Berman, that would mean you'd have to actually run.
I like running short distances. So it's the long stuff.
PT every morning.
The long stuff that gets me.
Hogan, so being in the Navy, having a military background, obviously, you deal with a little bit of change, being stationed all over the place. And, what are the parallels to entrepreneurship? I mean, we've heard from other people in service that have been on the show that, it's given them some wherewithal. Like we heard from a Navy SEAL that, as hard as that is, being an entrepreneur is even harder. So just wondering if there's any parallels that you took from your experience in the service into your career as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I really think it's all about the perseverance, and all about facing challenges and getting through adversity. I mean, the military to me has always been about resiliency, right? Like we may not get it right every time, but there's like 8 plans, and one of those plans is going to work. And if it takes us all 8 of those plans to make it work, we're going to make it work. And that resiliency really carries over into the startup world. And I talk about this a lot because there are also a ton of things that don't carry into entrepreneurship from the military. One of those things is having those 8 plans. Having organization and process and all of these things are great. It puts us in a comfort zone. We know that if something doesn't work, we've got something else that will work. But the problem in entrepreneurship is you don't have the time to build all those plans. And if you are building all those plans, then you're probably focused on the wrong thing. So, the biggest kind of translatable thing from the military would certainly be the resiliency. Something that you don't want to carry with you is the 10 redundancies for every problem, because you'll just waste a whole bunch of time.
How much planning is there in starting a business? I mean, how much is just an outline and go and try and test and see if something works? And if it doesn't, you pivot versus like, okay, I actually have a business plan in place. I mean, I think a lot of people struggle with just the start. Like, how'd you get started? What's that look like?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I started in 3rd grade selling creepy crawlers in Mrs. Price's class. And then, the elementary school shut me down. So then I moved to mowing lawns and then shoveling snow and selling stuff on eBay. And so like entrepreneurship for me has always been a journey. But, I agree with you. And there's a lot of people that get lost in the sauce as far as like they've got this product and they want to keep creating and keep refining that product before they ever get it into the consumer's hands. And there are other people that get lost in the planning phase. I mean, I know the first company I really tried to get off the ground was called Warware. And I had a 70-page business plan for Warware. I spent months investing time into this business plan. Like business plans are crap, especially in a startup, because
There
on
it
day
is.
one, your entire plan changes. And so like my philosophy is launch. launch a website, launch a Facebook page, launch something to start getting consumer feedback as early as possible, and then build based upon what people actually want, not your own great idea. Because at the end of the day, like, what I have found is that everybody thinks my babies are ugly, not my real children, but my idea babies. And that's okay. And what you're trying to do is make it pretty through the feedback that you're getting from the consumer.
Yeah, I struggle from that as an idea guy, right? Because I want my idea to be perfect before I bring it out into the world. And but really, like you said, it's, are we really listening to the customer? And by the way, what was it? Business plans are crap. Can we make that T-shirt together?
Let's do it. Let's
see
do it.
I did really want to, like, okay, maybe this is the three Ryans go into business. At some point I wanted to launch like an entrepreneur clothes, like a little looser. What do you think? Is there a market there?
I'd buy it, but I don't know. Like, we don't know if there's a market, and that's the whole thing. So let's throw a website up. Let's tell some people, and if they buy it, then we've got a business. And if they don't, then it was a really fun hour that we took talking about it, launching a website, and now we know that the market isn't there.
Well, will you work on 8 plans with me, and then we can try all 8 and see which one works best? All right,
I still have time.
so I have a sort of a second question on to Ryan's like serious question, which is, when you're in the military, I mean, you really are a lifelong entrepreneur, as you said, from 3rd grade on, and here you are, and you've seen the transformation from the different businesses. But do you feel like you're more apt to pick somebody who's gone through the Navy or military experience? Have you ever partnered with someone else from the Navy?
I've only had one partner through all of my ventures that have actually been somewhat successful, even if they've ended in like a huge ball of fire. And it's been a lifelong friend of mine. I've known, his name's Derek Smith. I've known Derek since 1st grade. He used to make fun of me. He was a grade ahead of me. So he sat in the back of the bus and would shout, "Hogan did it," to the bus driver, and I'd always get in trouble. But the reality is what I look for, I look for 2 things in a co-founder. The first is trust. Like, you need to trust them with your life. And that comes naturally in the military. So that certainly is a check in the block there. But your life, your wife, your bank account, everything, like, you need to trust them. And then the second part, and probably equally as important, is that they need to balance you. So whatever you're not all that great at, you need to find someone that's great at that. And Derek's the product guy. Derek's the creative guy. He's the writer. He knows how to build great products, and I know how to market and sell great products, or at least get them to market and tell him why the products are all jacked up. So we made a killer team.
Interesting pun that we could use there to talk about your current business.
I'm trying to keep my language at like a PG. So I keep self-editing right before something leaves the mouth.
I want to, before we go to what you're doing right now, I do want to ask, like, so I think, like, obviously this is a podcast about courage, and there's a certain, I guess, sense of like moxie or just ability to not have fear to go out and try something. And I'm wondering, being an entrepreneur since you were a kid, basically, and trying things, was that innate, or is it something that, like, were you ever scared? You have a family, right? Like, do you ever worry about, like, okay, if this is going to end in a ball of fire, what am I putting at risk here? How do you balance kind of like the risk, kind of the internal voice, and still have the courage to go out and start and try things?
Yeah, I think, and all entrepreneurs go through this. Like, I don't, for someone to say that they're fearless, or that, like, they're never terrified of tomorrow or what may or may not happen. I mean, I don't know. I've never met anybody like that is like, no, 100%. I knew this was going to be successful. I've been able to balance that most of my life, of just always having support. Launching companies or products or other things, when you're still living with your parents, like, there's like, what's the downside there? Okay, so it doesn't work. Well, mom's still keeping the lights on and putting food in my belly. After that, I created probably 10 different companies while I was in the military, and all 10 of them, except for one, Hunt to Killer Today, was not successful. Whether it got off the ground, or didn't get off the ground, or if it got off the ground and grew to 10 million bucks and ultimately ended in a blaze of fire, like, I always had a fallback. And now I don't. I got out of the military when this company was just around the 15 million, maybe even 10. I think I put in my resignation when like we were just passing the 10 million mark. And while that number sounds big, at the end of the day, like we weren't profitable, we weren't making any money. And so like there was a lot of risk. And so, you know, I certainly think about that quite often, but really knowing that you use the wins, right? So I make sure that with my team, we celebrate, even if they're small wins, like they're wins, because wins build upon each other. And, you know, we might have cash flow issues, or we might have a vendor drop off, or we might have something else somewhere else. But we've been able to solve every issue, and we celebrate those wins. And when we celebrate those wins, it gives us confidence to take on the next challenge. And so like, you know, you just try and beat the fear back in the back of your brain, and just keep charging forward saying like, it's going to work, and nothing's going to stop us.
I love that. Beat the fear back. That's great. And, you know, I feel like when you listen to you talk, Ryan, they're not canned answers, but like they're clearly like you've experienced it. So you've seen it. And in some ways it's like the scene in Jaws, like you're sharing your scars. I could probably share some of mine as well. But do you feel like that's the case from when you've been doing this long enough where it's the muscles built?
I feel like 2013 was was a dramatic year for me. 2013 was the collapse of Run for Your Lives. 2013, I lost my pilot spot. That, you know, I had two dreams in life. One was to be a business entrepreneur. The other was to fly, you know, F-18 Hornets faster than the speed of sound. And like everything in 2013 just collapsed at one time. I lost my business. We had just lost control over it. Market saturated, demand dropped off, and we just ran out of cash. And all of that stress, eventually, I was not eligible anymore for my pilot spot. So I still got my commissioning in the Navy, and they wound up making me a SWO. So I went and drove ships out of San Diego for 4 years. So it doesn't necessarily get easier, but like you build thicker skin. Like you build enough confidence through all of these failures to say like, I've got this. Like if this fails, and I'm not banking on this failing, but if this fails, like there are 1,000 other things that I can do, because over the past, let's just call it 10 years of successful entrepreneurship, even if things were failing, like 10 years of successful, that I've been able to build products that people will actually buy. And that gives me the confidence to say, like, if this doesn't work, that's okay. And that's a part of beating back that fear. But I don't use that a lot, because what I really tell myself is like, we're going to kill it. And we're going to take on any competitor out there, you know, in the immersive entertainment space. But, you know, I think it's building that thick skin, knowing, you know, you've got the confidence knowing that if everything failed, like you'll be okay. There's something else you can do.
All right. So you've already mentioned Warware. So let's go back to 2008. Like get us, we don't have to do this over like 12 years, but like get us quickly from Warware to Hunt to Killer, and how it all made sense in your head.
Yeah. So, and it was actually before Warware. So I mean, this started off with going to auctions and flipping computer. I would buy these nasty Dell computer laptops. They were all broken. I'd buy them for $10. I'd throw them on eBay and sell them for $20. And I'd only have like 8 of them. So I only made $80 off of that entire transaction, probably spent more in gas, but I was like, oh, I can actually sell things on eBay. And then there was this program back in 2007, before like webinars and everything else was out. And it was this person you bought in for $10, and she taught you about business cards and having a phone line and all these other things. I was like, this is great. I have a business now. And then I started purchasing Under Armour apparel and flipping that on eBay. So I would find great deals all over the place. I'd throw it up on there, and people would buy it. And I was like, I can do this. Like I just got back from a deployment where I met a manufacturer who could build me these same shirts, except I don't have to pay, you know, retail discount price. I can pay almost nothing and resell it on eBay. And so that was the origination of Warware. Warware was the performance apparel built for warfighters. And I had this amazing idea, and I went and other people were like, hey, that's a great idea. Here's some money. And I went and took all that money, invested in inventory from the guy that I met in Thailand off of a military deployment. And he sent me, you know, $120,000 worth of shirts. And then they just sat. So I had a whole 2-car garage in Southern Maryland full of Warware t-shirts that nobody wanted. They didn't sell on eBay. They didn't sell through the website. They just didn't sell. And it's like, holy crap, like we're in trouble here. Like I have no way to offload this. We're out of money. I can't market it. I didn't even know what advertising was at that point. I was just like, I'm going to do this and people are just going to buy it. And nobody bought it. And so that was like the first lesson of like, if you build it, they don't come. And ever since that day, like I've never invested that much in a 60-page business plan. I've never invested into inventory, none of that. Like just see if the market wants it and then start iterating. And that led to Run for Your Lives, because I called Derek, my childhood friend, and I was like, hey, I've got a whole bunch of t-shirts. I just opened up a Men's Health magazine and I just saw an article for this event called Warrior Dash. I know because of Warwear how much this article was, like $100,000. So obviously there's a market here. So why don't we just throw one event, and that event will be called Run for Your Lives. Actually, we came up with the name together, but we will throw one event and we'll be able to give these t-shirts away to participants, and this company will pay this company for the t-shirts, and then I can offload everything that's in my warehouse.
What year is this, by the way?
This is, so Warwear started in 2008, and then 2010 is when I made that phone call, because we had 2 years of not moving anything.
Got it.
So Derek and I got together and we came up with the name Run for Your Lives. And then we started saying, well, if people are running for their lives, like they're probably running from something. Then we looked at like different types of emerging themes and genres, and The Walking Dead had just launched that year, 2010. And we were like, hey, what about a zombie event? Like zombies are chasing you. It was like, okay, well, how far can we take that? And it was don a flag football belt, three flags, and you run through a course and zombies will be trying to take it. And if you have no flags left, that's your health, and you're a zombie at the end of the course. And it was all about immersive experiences. And like our whole goal there was taking some of my military training, the SEER training, survival, evasion, resistance, and escape, and trying to break and distort that reality. And, the whole goal was to just for half a second, if we could break reality for a participant and actually make them believe that they were a part of a post-apocalyptic world, like we had accomplished our job. So that, that's how we got from Warwear to Run for Your Lives.
And now, can you just tell us about the journey with the current business and how it's going? And I mean, you made even a couple pivots with that, right? Yeah,
quite a few. It's all about pivots. So, fast forward to 2013, we were riding high. It was great. This thing is exploding. And then it went from exploding to imploding and ultimately bankrupted. We ran out of cash for several reasons: market saturation, just not watching our expenses, just rookie mistakes, learning entrepreneurship while actually scaling a company. And so it took about a 3-year break. I wound up getting my orders. We moved out to San Diego, my wife and I, from the DC area. And I was dabbling in some other ventures, and this mentor came to me and he was like, why are you doing this software technology thing? Like, you don't know how to code. That's not your profession. Like get out of that. I was like, hey, that's great advice. So I shut that company down, called Derek back and said, Derek, there are escape rooms, there are interactive theater like the Off-Broadway Sleep No More, and there are adventure races, and all of these things still exist. And what if we could take these 3 things and combine them into a single experience? And then we did the same thing. We looked across the market at different types of genres and themes that were relevant in 2016. You've got My Favorite Murder and all these podcasts creating this excitement and all these micro communities. And we said, okay, there it is. It's this one-time event. It's 3 hours long. We're going to immerse people inside an investigation. We're going to stage crime scenes. We're going to have actors that you can engage with. And we're going to market this thing as Hunt a Killer. And so that was the launch. And let's see, that was 2016. So we spent January 2016 to October 2016 selling tickets, marketing the event, building the game design. And we realized that it just wouldn't scale. And so unlike Run for Your Lives, we actually made some money off this event. So like we sold the event out, we made $60,000, and out of that 60, we had 10,000 left over. But Derek and I were looking at each other and we're like, there's no way that like I can leave the military. There's no way you can quit your job if we're just making $10,000 split 2 ways each year. And so we said, we found product market fit with this idea. Is there another business model that exists that we can distribute this experience globally? Because it's all about the immersive experience. We're trying to break, distort, immerse people inside of a reality, a universe that we have created. And so we found the subscription box industry, and we said, you know what, we can package this, authentic items, real crime scene, photos and case files and things like that. And we can ship it out each month episodically. And we pivoted the company 2 weeks after the first event. And from there, it's been a wild ride.
And more than a wild ride. I mean, so Fast Company calls you guys like world's most innovative companies in 2019. And by the way, if you think back to your first experience as an entrepreneur and how long maybe you would have stayed in that arena versus pivoting after what you said, the first event.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that's just like sort of learning the ropes of being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, definitely. And it's also, it's probably slight overcompensation too, and overcompensation for having $100,000 worth of inventory sitting in my garage for 2 years. So it's like we're never going to do that again. So like if we don't believe that this product has traction, then we're going to switch rapidly. And I'm a firm believer in the lean startup. I read it religiously. It's meant for tech companies, but we use minimal viable product even when we're launching new products. Like we use those same ideas.
What drove you to this like immersive experience? I mean, besides the training, did you see like an opportunity? I mean, so much of like innovation and these experiences are like technology based or screen based, right? Was there something else there that really was like a trigger for you guys to like pull people into these experiences and gets them like engaging together versus like watching a screen?
Yeah, I think, there's a great answer for that today, but the reality is, 10 years ago when we first started doing this, like I'm a creator. Like if you would ask me 10 years ago, where will you be in 10 years? I would have said, a $1 billion performance apparel company. I never would have said an immersive experience company, because for me, it's all about the creation. It's all about the journey. Like the fun part is just creating products that people can't live without. And that's the fun part. Now, I do think that we have found our niche. Like I really enjoy providing that escapism for people. I really enjoy, I'm very passionate about bringing people together. I mean, it's just an amazing thing logging on the Facebook and getting into our group. We've got 130,000 people in there, and they're all talking about the experience, and they're working their way through their journey, through their episodes. And it's an amazing feeling. So, I think it was accidental that we stumbled into this industry. But it's quickly became a passion, and I don't see myself ever doing, anything else.
Was there things that, you talk about like the 9 failures that you had, and this was the one that made it through. What else did you take from those that you applied to the success that you're having now? Or was it just all, you just kept building on the success and learning from what you're doing now? Or did you take anything with you?
No, it's all about building on the success, right? Because going back, not to keep going back to 2013, but it was a rough year, right? And I just went from running a $10 million company and making decisions that impacted many lives to sitting on board a ship, checking IDs as people came on and off the ship. And that was that going from a mentality of I was never, and I'm not a millionaire, but going from mentality that I've almost made it to I just went bankrupt, that was tough. And that's why this has never been building on the successes. It's always learning from the failures and just trying to avoid those the next way. I think we've been struck by lightning twice. We've been I don't know how this happened twice, and this is great. We're very excited and fortunate to be in this position. And what we learned before is what to avoid. And a part of that, the 2 big things for me is, one, understanding the key metrics of the business. We had lagging indicators at Run for Your Lives. We look at the bank account balance to understand how much money we had to budget for an event. That's a terrible way to run a business. If you would ask me what customer acquisition cost it was back then, I would have said, what is that? Can you explain to me what you're talking about? So understanding the key levers of the business and the leading indicators that will tell you how it's running is certainly one part. And the second part, probably more important, because if you get this part right, then everything else will fall in the line. It's getting the right people in the right places. And Run for Your Lives was run by a whole bunch of, and I was included in that, just a whole bunch of young people that were just ready to explore the world and build a great business. The reality is we were missing that key piece of experience doing that. And so, what I have done is every step of the way, always hiring for what we need next, not what we need today, but what do we need next? So let's get that person through the door today, because they'll help us get to where we're going. And sometimes there's risk involved in that. Sometimes you're paying more money than obviously yourself, but more money than you're comfortable paying. But if you hire the right people, it comes right back.
So I definitely want to talk about like your tomorrow, but let's give a shout out for today. So Hunt a Killer, right? It's right now you've sold 2 million episodes, I believe, have shipped. By the way, pandemic sales have to be pretty solid.
It's certainly accelerating our towards our vision for sure.
I mean, I like our family is like, it's like we love this type of stuff, and I got to be careful because I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old, so I can't exactly put Hunt a Killer in front of that name yet in front of them, to be honest. Maybe that's a data point, but like we are all in on escape rooms, and so I love that you've been able to scale this experience, and the nuance that it's going into the game has to make you sort of proud as a creator, right? I mean, like the clues. Can you talk about like what the clues look like and what's happening inside the box?
Yeah, and that's and it makes me excited that we have the team in place to be able to create these types of experiences, right? Because like I'm not like when I say I'm a creator, like I'm just a creator of products that hopefully sell and trying to scale that. I am. We have amazing creatives, writers, graphic designers, all of these people out of our Baltimore headquarters that just produce these amazing experiences that I'm really proud of. And that's what this comes back to, right? Is in order for us to provide that escapism, in order for us to provide that authentic immersion into the universe that we've created, we have to make it feel real. And the only way you make it feel real is if it is real. And I'll give you an interesting story is I think it was season 5, episode 2, but there was this case file. And you opened up to the second part of the case file and it had this autopsy report and it had an image of a body and it had, different circles and different things. And I talked to one of the graphic designers about it. I was like, hey, this is a really neat piece of paper. I was like, you guys even like copy marked the lines into it. So, with a copy machine, if you put something through the feed and it gets that streak down the center. And what she said was, she was like, no, you don't understand. Like we built that pixel by pixel. Like that wasn't a standard sheet we took off the shelf and figured out how to do this. Like pixel by pixel, we graphic designed those printer streaks down the middle to make it feel real. We go through thousands of pieces of paper to figure out which one feels the most real and the most authentic, because those have been the keys to our success. If we can break reality for you, if we can immerse you inside of the experience, then you're having a great time. And the only way we get there is by everything that goes into that box, the items, the correspondence, the clues, is real items.
And how long does it take a standard group to get through a game?
Standard group, probably an evening. I would say a standard group could get through an episode in one evening, and that's typically what it's built for, right? Like once a month, you're bringing a whole bunch of people together. Obviously not now, maybe via Zoom, but typically once a month, you're bringing people together. You're having a glass of wine, and for 3 to 4 hours, you're working through this experience. And like you're gonna have to reference that experience again. There may be things that you missed. You could spend days just exploring everything. Like there's websites, fake websites, but they feel real. Like you're like, is this a real law firm or is this a real nonprofit? Like, no, we've created that universe. And so it's all inside of ours. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's you could get through and have a fun night.
I'm curious, just like the level of detail, and you talked about finding the right people and having them in the right places. Obviously, you've learned some of that through the experiences that you've had, but how do you find the people that actually care, have the passion? I mean, are there values in the company now, or do you guys have a purpose that you use as a filter? I mean, what are things, beyond just like the technical skills that you're looking for as you continue to grow, and what does that mean to, the culture that you're trying to build?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I would actually say today we're kind of in this transition mode. We're implementing a lot of process, a lot of structure. We're revisiting things like core values, revisiting things like our vision and our mission and all of those things. All of that said, today it's to tell great stories. And we've got a whole list of values, including customer obsessed to teamwork to all of these other things. But the reality is that what we're doing is really interesting. Like, I think we've been really lucky to find incredible talent, but like we've kind of been a magnet for that. And it's just because like what we're doing hasn't been done before, and we've been successful in being able to market and sell it, right? So there may be other companies doing what we're doing, but they're not doing it at the scale that we're doing. So right now there's only one Hunt a Killer, and there's one place on earth that you can get a full-time paid job with benefits, spending your days writing about murder mysteries and figuring out how you're gonna trick the member into thinking someone else did it, just to throw a curveball at the end, and it was this person all along. And I think that has really been the biggest attribute for us to be able to find and retain great talent. And then we, obviously we're trying to smooth over the culture, and we're trying to build these things. Our vision is transitioning to bring the world together through immersive entertainment. So we're still continuing to nurture that culture and get to where we want to be. But really we're doing something that's fun, and people want to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's almost like your competition is boredom. And
right.
I mean,
right.
People have a lot of time on there. I mean, you're competing against all forms of entertainment. This one just seems to be, so unique and interesting. Is there anything that keeps you up at night right now? That is a fear that you're worried about?
Yeah, November and December. I mean, what happens? I mean, we've got a lot of things going on in the country. We've got a pandemic. We've got an election. We've got USPS, which, if you're not Amazon, that impacts every direct to consumer company. So, what keeps me up at night right now is really the unknowns, and our job, kind of going back to that military and building redundancy. Like, we are spending a lot of time now, maybe more time than we should, building redundancy, because there's just so much unknown over the next probably 3 to 5 months. But outside of that, we're excited. I mean, we've got a retail strategy that's cooking. We're going to be on the shelves of Target in a few weeks. I mean, we've got a partnership that's launching in like 4 days. We are really excited about.
Can you share that? This won't actually air until after it launches.
Yeah, I just got in big trouble for this. But anyhow, we have a partnership with Lionsgate, and so
wow.
we have kind of our vision. We have a 3-pronged strategy, and the first is retail distribution. So diversification of distribution channels, which includes retail and more broadly marketplace, whether that's Amazon or whether that's Target.com or whether that's physical Target, brick and mortar. Diversification of our distribution is huge. And now we've got this new game that's sitting on all the shelves of Target here on October 5th. And we are stoked about that. The second part of our growth strategy is intellectual property. We think that by leveraging existing audiences from brands that already exist, we can accelerate the growth of the company. We also think that we can grow the market size by making sure that there is not a lot of cannibalization between those markets. So kind of breaking genres. So getting out of the murder mystery genre and into, not out of, but expanding upon that and getting into a new genre as well. And so we're going to get into the horror genre. And so what you'll see launch on Monday is Hunt a Killer Horror presents Blair Witch. And so we've had a great relationship with Lionsgate over the past 6 months, and we're finally launching our first or our second ever Hunt a Killer subscription, which is in the horror genre, and it's Blair Witch, and it's an amazing experience.
So this is September 14th for the listener, correct?
Yeah. So we have this pre-sale on September 14th, and then 2 weeks from now we've got the actual pre-sale, and then actually I think October 1. So 2.5 weeks from now it starts shipping, but we actually go to market with it on Monday.
So when you say working on your what's next, this is a big part of it.
Yeah, intellectual property. What next? Both inbound intellectual property, outbound intellectual property. We have a whole catalog of intellectual property that we own. All of the Hunt a Killer stories are original. They're owned by the company, and so television shows, book deals. We're really starting to look at different things we can do outbound and license our own intellectual property. And then the third, and this is how we get to $1 billion, is the digital distribution of immersive entertainment. So taking all of these amazing things that we do in the real world and starting to figure out how to do them in the digital world, we believe will only expand our market. So it's very much Netflix. I don't think we'll ever be done shipping boxes, just like DVD.com still is a Netflix company and still ships DVDs. But I certainly believe that 5 years into the future, a majority of our revenue is really going to be coming from digital distribution.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Again, it's cool to hear you talk, because I feel like you're very unemotional about, like, you're focused just on like what the future looks like. Does that sound like a temperature check? Spot on, not on?
Yeah, and I think, like, one, we have to believe in what we're doing, right? Like that's a part of it, and the other part in I've just a few jobs as CEO: right people, right seat, make sure we got enough cash in the bank, make sure we're communicating. There's not many jobs as CEO, but the other is championing 1 to 2 big swings each year. And I will tell you that, like, we've had 1 to 2 swings each year, and they really haven't panned out that much. Like, we've tried launching some other subscriptions, we've tried launching some other things, and it didn't pan out. But, like, that doesn't stop us from trying. And this year we've got 2 swings, and 1 swing is already validated. Amazon picked up 50,000 units of Death at the Dive Bar. Target picked up 20,000 units and is doing a full nationwide rollout. So that swing won, and I think we've got a really good opportunity with Blair Witch. And so, like, some years you take 2 swings and you miss both, and you just keep driving towards your vision and your mission. You make sure your cash cow is still heading in the right direction. And some years you get lucky and both of them hit. And next year's big swing is really all about technology. And that's the unlock for the business. So, it's the difference between a $500 million business and like multi-billion-dollar business is, can we get that unlock with digital distribution?
Belief is such an interesting theme that we hear about. And I'm just wondering, I mean, you had to believe in all of the businesses that you've started, or you wouldn't have started them, right? And then it's, how do you get others to follow you, to believe what you believe?
Maybe just excitement, like genuineness. Like, I am genuinely, authentically excited about everything that we do. And I am genuinely hurt every time we have to cancel something, every time something doesn't work. And I think by showing authentic, real emotions through this is a big part of it, right? Like no one's going to follow you if you're just like, hey, let's do that. And then you walk to the other thing while that thing's in a ball of fire and you never look at it again and it just goes down. Like, when we launch something, like, I believe in it and I think it's going to work. We wouldn't be doing it if I didn't think it's going to work. And when it sucks or when it doesn't work, like, I'm genuinely upset. We had a great strategy. I still believe in this. It's called team building kits. And basically team building kits is exactly what it sounds like, team building kits. So basically we take our immersive storytelling and it's a B2B play. So we ship it out to corporations. They open up the box. They take out an experience, and now they don't have to go to an escape room. They don't have to take down a bowling alley. They don't have to go to the bar and schedule a whole bunch of designated drivers. Like, they can bring a team building experience to their office. And like, I had launched that and kind of run it myself, and then handed off the reins to an incredible general manager last year. And we got about a year into it. December, we had the biggest sales month ever. We did $30,000 in sales with team building kits. And we're like, this is going to work. Things come down in January, as they typically do. And then February was just starting to pick up, and then no one's going to the office anymore. And so we had to wind down that company. And that's something that was like gut wrenching, because I still believe that that's a huge opportunity. So yeah, that's a long-winded answer for authentic. Like, I believe in what we're doing.
So for Hunt a Killer, if you were going to name, like, maybe one thing that was going to hunt and kill you guys, what's on there? What is it? What are you worried about?
I would probably say, I'm trying to think of how someone could take over the category quicker than we could at this point. And, like, here's the other reality. Like, someone could try to do what we're doing. Like, let's say Hasbro or Mattel or MGA Entertainment, Disney, like, they're like, hey, we can do what they're doing. And let's say they are amazing at it and they have the audience. Like, here's the reality. If Disney launches something and it competes with us and they start shipping subscription boxes, storytelling subscription boxes, well, now Hasbro, and they actually get traction, they are successful. Well, now Hasbro and Mattel are looking for an organization that they can quickly scale up. And it just so happens that we've been doing this longer than Disney, and we're probably their best bet. So, there's not really competition that keeps me up. Like, for me, it's more of like atrophy. It's more about us reading our own press release. And, like, we're number one and we're always going to be number one. Like, we need to make sure that we are constantly disrupting ourselves. We're constantly challenging our own thoughts, our own ideas. our own biases. And, you know, I really think that between cash management and us just kind of like, yeah, we got this. I think those are probably the two things that could kill us.
So basically, corporate suicide. Like it would be you guys. It'd be you guys on
Right.
you guys. But I love that. I love
Yeah.
that acquisition thought that like at some point, if the category continues to shine, why wouldn't someone attempt to pick you up?
Yep.
Is there as we close here, like, because I really do think that you've got so many like nice little wisdom nuggets, and we've noticed a few on the show. Like the other one I really liked was if you build it, they don't come. Is that what you said? You know,
that's our T-shirt. We're creating that one too.
I'm in, man. I'm in. We'll do it fast. We won't spend 9 months on it. Let's see if we got something. But like, give me like one more nugget for entrepreneurs who are listening, or for future entrepreneurs.
I think like, and Ryan was hitting on this earlier, which is funny because now everybody's like, which Ryan? But Thompson hit on this earlier, with just starting. Like there's two big things in entrepreneurship. The first is just starting, and the second is not getting wrapped up in whatever your own product is or your own idea. Like, don't spend too much time. If it's not working, it's not working. And like coming to that realization is very important. But the other part is like really just starting. Like for me, it was filling out LLC paperwork back in 2008. And I was like, well, now that I've done that, like now I have to do this. Okay, now I've got this account. Now I have to do this. And like, it's almost like you're creating your own forward momentum. Like someone is pushing you just because you've already started. And like, once you take that first action, or at least for me, like everything else just kind of pushes you. And it's still true today with Hunt the Killer. Like we're way out ahead of probably where we should be today. But it's because we've got the momentum, and everything is kind of just pushing us at this point.
Great feedback. Great advice. Yeah, we heard a lot of good stuff. Just start. Don't build a 90-page business plan. Disrupt yourself, right? If better to just disrupt yourself than somebody else. Ryan, what else am I missing?
Right people, right places.
Yeah, and stay passionate and believe, and make sure other people believe or feel that belief, and give it love.
Yeah.
Don't like throw it over in the corner and not work on it. So,
yeah.
One more. I mean, I think like the genuine authenticity, that's huge, right? All the successful people, the courageous people that we've interviewed, I mean, I think they share that commonality, and that passion comes through, and that's why people want to get behind them and follow them, even when it's a crash and burn ball of fire situation.
Yep. Yeah. And like we were able here, I'll give you a great story. There's a gentleman by the name of Ryan Schumann. So that great teammate that I was just talking about for Ryan's. Ryan,
let's call him up. Get him in. Get him on here.
So, Ryan Schumann, that great general manager I was talking about that took over Team Building Kits, who today runs our retail distribution, which by the way is growing fast. He was our second hire at Run for Your Lives, and so like talk about a true testament. Like Ryan Schumann went through Run for Your Lives, second hire, went through that bankruptcy, and still for some insane reason decided to join us on this amazing adventure. And the other thing that I'll add, Thompson, is like I don't say a lot of this stuff like saying like I know it all, or like I knew this all along. Like the reason that I know that authenticity works and kind of wearing your heart on your sleeve is because I didn't used to do that. And being enlisted in the military, I would constantly look at these officers, and there was this like clear line, this clear differentiation between officers who were prim and proper and enlisted who were just the rowdy bunch. Now eventually I became an officer and adjusted my ways, but you know the whole idea there is going through the military ranks, all I saw was disingenuous would be a terrible word, but non-authentic interactions. And that's what I carried with me through Run for Your Lives. So like Run for Your Lives, I'm like wearing suits because I'm the CEO and all these other things. And like, you know, I didn't bring my family into to the Christmas parties because there's a clear line between us and like that shit doesn't work. And that's really what when I say things, like I say this because I did them wrong for so long that you know, eventually it got through my thick skull.
We keep hearing that too. Like we keep hearing like and I think the word authentic is almost inauthentic, but it's not. It's like, just be real. We keep hearing like the more real you can be, And I wish brands, and we talked about this on one of the episodes a while back, but like almost embrace your imperfections as a brand. Like what is it that, where are your blemishes, and be great at what you're great at, and maybe don't try to be more than that. And Ryan Hogan, thank you for coming on with Ryan and Ryan. And for people that want to learn more about Hunt a Killer, it's as simple as go to huntakiller.com. If you're looking for an escape, a lot of us are right now with this crazy time, pandemic, pick up, give it a try, takes an evening, get some wine, and then report back. Let us know what you think. Thanks so much, Ryan, for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
If you enjoyed the episode, please give us 5 stars, subscribe, and leave us a comment.